Wow, 2024. How did we even get here? When the Jonas Brothers sang they've been to the year 3000, that's like not that far away. I mean, it kind of is far away. Anyway, I am so happy you're here. I am going on about 14 years of teaching now and about 4 years of teaching online, which is absolutely insane that it has now been that long. It's truly been an incredible experience, and I really could not do this without you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching this video. If you are a member, thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate you. I'm so grateful. And if you would like a membership, memberships are available on thatnicolefiore.com and on YouTube. And the Roller Skating Foundations course, which is like my little baby that I have now created, which I'm very proud of, that is available on thatnicolefiore.com. No matter what level skater you are, you can do the memberships as well as the course. The course goes through the entirety of skating, like everything I think everyone should know. And it's for beginners as well as more advanced skaters. So I highly recommend it for everyone. Please check it out. And now let's get into what I recommend practicing this month. Okay, so our skills this month are really fun to do together. We are going to do the inner forward 3-turn and the back crossed pivot. Now, those two, if you can connect them, it's a little more challenging, but it is so much fun. And then our choreography this month does use that pivot, and you can add the turn in with it if you would like. Now, of course, I do want this to be possible for everyone, no matter what level. So there will be variations and things to learn along with them to make everything easier. So week 1, we will be doing drills 9, which works on transferring weight, as well as the inner forward 3-turn. Now drills 9, when we think of skating, a lot of times we start with just our 2 feet on the ground. But once you start advancing in things, you very quickly realize you need to know how to balance on one foot and then the other, and transferring your weight from one foot to the other on wheels is a little bit more difficult than it is on feet. So we have to really practice it. Now, all of the drills that are on the site and on YouTube, all of the drills that are available, you can do them on skates as well as off skates. I highly recommend going through skills and going through drills and choreography, honestly doing everything off skates as well as on. Whenever I create something or really dive into learning something, I prefer to do it on feet and then put my skates on so that I can really feel where the weight is transferring within my actual foot, because that can kind of get muddled once it's in a skate. It's a little bit harder to feel exactly where you are putting weight in your skate. So play with both ways, doing things on skates, doing things off skates, and of course the drills, any workouts I do, all of that can be done both ways. Now, the inner forward 3-turn. This is one of my favorite 3-turns, and a 3-turn is called a 3-turn because you're literally drawing a 3 on the ground with your edges. So the inner forward 3-turn goes into the turn on an inner forward edge, and you come out of the turn on an outer back edge. So it will practice your forward and your backward skating. Now, just a reminder, with turns, you can either slide the turn or you can hop the turn. When you're hopping this turn, which was probably what will happen when you're learning it, when you hop the turn, and I'm gonna put that in quotes because a hop is not like a literal jump, it is lifting of wheels. So it makes a little sound. And I know that sound well because I do hop my turns every once in a while. Now, when you are hopping the turn from forward to back, you will be lifting your heel wheels. And this is so like momentary, like it's very quick how this happens. So if you hop, if you hear the thud sound when you are turning, your heel wheels will be lifting. Now, when you slide the turn, your heel wheels don't fully lift off the ground, but your weight is still more toward the toe, which allows your heel wheels to slide across the surface. So whether you're hopping or sliding, it's great to know how to do it both ways. The goal is to slide the turn, not to have a thud when you turn, but either way, you are on your way to the other. So if you're hopping right now, you are on your way to sliding because you're developing that method of transferring your weight forward. Now, I do recommend practicing this on both feet. I myself love my right inner forward 3 turn, and I absolutely hate my left inner forward 3 turn. There's something about that turn that has just always bothered me, and it still does. So I need to practice it more than I do. So yeah, do practice it on both sides. Whatever you're doing, practice it on both sides. All right, for our practice this week, we have inner forward edges, 3 turns, and our drills 11, which is static turns. Static turns can be done on skates or off. I highly recommend starting off skates and then trying it on skates. But static turns are something that my dad used to make me do. We would be working on a figure, we'd be working on a turn, and he'd be like, okay, now stop, stand stationary, and do the turn. And the goal out of stationary turns is to be able to gain speed and power out of your turn. So that is something that kind of goes unnoticed when you're learning 3 turns, is that, and turns in general, you will actually gain speed. If done correctly, from a standstill and doing the turn, you will gain speed. You will be able to roll out of the turn from a stationary position. So that's what drills 11 is on. But to back it up, inner forward edges. Since we are doing the inner forward 3 turn, I want you to practice your inner forward edges. Now, your inner forward edges don't need to be super, super deep, but I do want them to be really secure. So I want you to be able to hold an inner forward edge for a slightly extended period of time, really focusing on your curve. So it doesn't need to be super, super deep, but just constant, a nice constant curve. And then the 3 turn, of course, since we are doing the inner forward 3 turn, I do want you to brush up on your regular 3 turns, so your outer forward 3 turn. You can also practice other turns beyond that, but I do want you to focus on the 3 turn. On to week 2. I'm very excited about this. We are doing our I Wanna Dance with Somebody choreography. Is that the full name? That seems like a really long name. Whitney Houston. Yeah, that's the full name. Came out in 1987. Okay, so our beginner intermediate choreography. This song is just so fun. I think everyone knows this song, and it makes you literally want to move. So that's exactly what we are going to do. But whenever we do choreography, we do have wheels on our feet, so we have to take it a little bit easy. If you are first learning choreography, if this is your first time learning choreography on skates, I highly recommend learning it on a rug or on grass, something where your wheels won't move out from under you too quickly, and then move to a solid surface where you can actually roll with it. But this choreography is super, super fun. I do want you to play with your body, play with your arms, really allow yourself to move and dance as if you were on feet. But we will be using a lot of skills within this choreography. We use a heel to heel transition, a 3 turn, and a pivot. So all of this, because it's beginner intermediate, can be worked up to. You don't need to do all of these skills full out. You can kind of step through them. And that's the beautiful thing about choreography, is you can take 2 beats to step through something, or you can take 8 beats to step through something. The music, just listen to the rhythm. You don't have to nail the beats super, super quickly. This song is fairly fast, but it's a good groove, so it doesn't necessarily feel rushed. But take your time with it. The beginner intermediate is meant for beginners and intermediate skaters, so it does vary, and you can make it a little more challenging once you grow into it. Now, to practice and to assist in our choreography, we have a few things to learn and to practice. I want you to practice the heel to heel transition, toe pivots, and the 2-foot spin. Now, the heel to heel transition, we do this transition within the choreography to turn from one direction to the other. A heel to heel transition can be done stationary or rolling. I've been getting a lot of requests lately in private lessons that people want to learn how to transition more cleanly and quickly when they're at like a skating rink or skating outside. So this is a really big one that I want people to practice. The heel to heel transition, you don't need to get it super tight with your heels touching, but I do want a nice clean from one direction to the other. We can't roll sideways. So we really have to make sure we are starting one direction, turning and facing the other direction when we finish. Heel to heel, you open up the hip. Now, I'm someone who my hips don't like to open like that, so I have to really use my edges to help me out. So that's a kind of cheat code is if you have good edges, you can press them to make the transition even easier. Now, toe pivots, we are going to be doing the back crossed pivot. So I want you to get used to using your toe, either your toe stop or your toe wheels, to pivot around it. So the toe pivots, there are a few different ways we can do it. We can do it forward in both directions. We can do it backward in both directions. Play with those. I want you to get comfortable with one foot being planted on the toe stop or the toe wheels and the other one out a little bit on an inner edge. So think about that when you're practicing it. One needs to be super solid, that's your anchor, and then the other one does have weight in it, and it is skating on an inner forward or back edge. Now the trusty 2-foot spin. The 2-foot spin is done on inner edges. So always going back to our edges. I don't even mean to, but it's literally used in everything. So the 2-foot spin, whatever way you're spinning, I spin to my left, so my left skate does an inner back edge and my right skate does an inner forward edge. When you want to spin more rotations in a 2-foot spin, the secret is you can't really spin a ton of rotations in a standard 2-foot spin. That is why we pop to the heel and toe to do a lot more rotations. But in a 2-foot spin, I want you to focus on those edges. The more power you put down into the ground, the more rotations you're gonna get. But we have to make sure we're distributing our weight evenly. If you start to put more weight into one foot over the other, that's when the spin gets a little like sideways and you're kind of like a weebles wobble. You wanna make sure the weight is evenly distributed and you're doing solid inner edges to make the spin happen. All right, making our way through the month, we're on to week 3. In week 3, we will be doing drills 4, which is on toe stop balance, and our back crossed pivot. Now, the back crossed pivot is when you are on one foot and you swing your other foot around, planting it in back. This is really strange to do with hands. Planting it in back to then pivot around it. So it does use a lot of different balance to make this happen. You don't need to do it super big, but it's fun to do it super big and like really extend your free leg around and cross it behind. But that transfer of weight that we worked on in the drills in the first week really comes in handy because when you're moving a free leg around and then planting it, you have to know to transfer it from one foot to the other once you plant it, and then lighten up the weight in the first foot to actually be able to move it around in a pivot. There's a lot happening in this skill. It's not necessarily a difficult skill though. It just takes some previous knowledge. So that's why the pivots, the toe pivots, the 2-foot spin, the drills, everything comes into play when you are learning this. So I don't necessarily recommend just jumping into a back cross pivot because it will all make a lot more sense once you have a few more things under your belt. But drills 4, working on toe stop balance, this one is very near and dear to my heart because I love my toe stops, and knowing how to use them to help you balance and help you move. They're not just for stopping. You can use them in other skills. For example, a pivot, I use my toe stop to anchor my foot down. So I really do recommend trying this out. This one I do recommend doing on skates because you will be doing things like planting the toe stop and rolling the other skate forward and back. So you can step it out, but I recommend to do this one on skates. Okay, now for our practice, we have a few fun ones. I recommend practicing your dips. Now you might be thinking, how does that actually come into play with any of this? But I promise it does. So the dips use your outer back edges, and you really learn how to guide yourself, leading kind of with your tailbone, with your butt, to really help you get around. Dips look super, super cool, and they're very fun to do. You can have a lot of fun with your body movement on it and like really rotating. You can add in some body rolls. There's a lot you can do with dips, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of different variations of them. So play with that and figure out where you can transfer your weight to be comfortable on that outer back edge, because our back crossed pivot that we are working on, it's a pivot and you're doing an outer back edge. Again, this is really weird with hands, but you're doing an outer back edge with the foot that is actually like pivoting around. And so I want you to get comfortable on that edge, holding it in that kind of bent position. So play with the dips, practice those, let me know how it goes. Now the outer back upright, again, that one is using the outer back edge. Take that one slowly if you haven't worked on it yet. We did it a while back when I first introduced it, but the outer back upright is my favorite spin to do. And it is the one spin that I trusted enough to have in all of my routines when I was competing. So the outer back upright is a very special one to me. It takes a lot of control on that outer back edge. Now, lastly, for practice this week, I want you to do the inner forward 3-turn because I want you to figure out how to transition that, turning the 3-turn into your back cross pivot. So play with that little combo. It is very fun, but keep that core tight. Keep your core nice and tight throughout that entire thing. All right, now lastly, week 4, we have our advanced choreography to I Wanna Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston. Again, this song is just like the right vibe all the time. So our advanced choreography is advanced. It's quick and it uses a lot of different skills. Like any piece of choreography, take things out if you need to, add things in if you want to. You have the ability to make it a new version every time. So play with the skills, learn them on their own, try to implement them into choreography. The reason that I love choreography so much and the reason that it is such a huge part of the membership is not only because it's fun, but it's a great way to learn your skills. You can have a hard time and you can be struggling with a skill. Let's say the back cross pivot. Let's say you're practicing it and it's just not coming together correctly when you are doing it on its own. But when you put it into the choreography and I give you a few moves to do before, we can kind of trick our brains into not thinking too much about the next move. And you may find that you are able to just do the pivot. And then you come out of it and you're like, wait, what? I just did that. It's a beautiful thing about choreography that happens more often than you can even imagine. So play with the choreography, whether you are doing the beginner, intermediate, or the advanced, or both. Play with that. You may surprise yourself. Now, I said we use a lot of skills in this advanced choreography, and we do. I'm going to look at my screen and read them because there's a lot. We do a 2-foot spin to open it up. We do a kick, which we have a high kick video if you want to check that out. And we do a heel toe manual, a toe stop spin, a body roll, and kind of a bracket turn. So there's a lot of different things. We have skills classes on every single one of those things. So what I just named, if you want to practice all of them separately, you totally can. It's in the skills tab or the skills playlist. But for our practice this week, I want you to practice your heel toe manual, your high kick, and your toe stop spin. Now, let me address the elephant in the room first. A high kick, you don't need to be super flexible in order to do this. And if you are not super flexible right now, and I say that because you can work on your flexibility, but if you're not super flexible right now, the high kick is more about the stability of your post leg, the stability of the leg you are standing on. So think more about that and less on the actual kick, less on the flexibility. Within the choreography, I don't actually kick my leg up, I do a high knee. So it is truly about that leg that you are standing on, making sure you are stable enough to hold yourself up on that. Now to bring it back to the heel toe manual, we do this very quickly in the advanced choreography. So play with that, work on your balance, holding heel toe. And because we are doing a 2-foot spin within the choreography and in our practice, that will also help you with your heel toe spin if you want to work on that. And the toe stop spin to finish off our practice. In the choreography, we do a toe stop spin for like one time around. It's a very quick one. It's more like popping up to the toe stop and rotating just one time around. I love a toe stop spin. So like I said earlier, toe stops are not just for stopping. You can do a lot of creative things with them. And the toe stop spin is one of my favorites. It is I think one of the most beautiful moves you can do on skates, and it's strange because you're not even rolling, you're not even using the wheels of the roller skate, but the way you can extend your body and reach your body up while rotating on a toe stop spin is just beautiful. I love it. All right, that's it for this month. Please check out the memberships. Please check out the Roller Skating Foundations course. It truly means the world to me. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my love and my joy and everything with you. I truly appreciate it. Nothing makes me happier than that. So thank you for being here. Please let me know if you have any questions about any of this. I am here. I am happy to help, and I will see you later. Bye.